All right, big R. Today's a really big day because, number one, I may or may not be wearing pants. Just going to throw that out there. But besides that, I think I'm going to finish, or I already finished my 5Q Leela series, and I want to move on to the bigger guns. So we're moving up to Lizzie, or Leela 0, using the Lizzie interface today. And instead of looking at those measly, mangly, crazy 5Q games, we're going to look at least today, one of my own games. And so this is some 4/5 Dan craziness. It's the disappointing thing, maybe exciting thing. Yeah, I don't know. You can decide. I think it's just as crazy as the 5Q games. So I'm just going to throw that out there as well. So anyway, it should be a lot of fun. I have reviewed the game with my opponent. I did some review of my own, so I think I already have a lot of my own ideas to say. I hope that you want to come and see what I have to say about my own game and what Leela 0 has to say about my own game. And yeah, here we go. Let's get this thing going. So if you've never seen Leela 0 before, or I guess this is technically the Lizzie interface. Leela 0 is just a bunch of numbers, essentially. Deep inside the computer, you don't ever really see. You can see it's the interface is very graphical. It shows the moves on the board instead of a list like Leela. Basically its favorite move, or certainly its most worked on move, is the blue variation. So even though we're at the start of the game, it's still thinking the bottom right hand corner is best. Robots, man. It shows you a nice little win percentage here. You can see that Leela 0 already likes white by a good margin, just because of that Comey. And if you hover your mouse over any of the variations it's researched, it'll show you what it thinks the game will go like, which is comical when you're looking at games at our level. It's just so far removed. One reason I really like doing the games that I did in Leela the last series is just because the Leela moves were much more human, right? They were much more common, much more human. Leela 0 really likes to do Leela 0 and AlphaGo 0 and all the robot moves that humans haven't quite adopted yet. One other thing today, today's a really big day. I've done a complete reorganization of my audio recording setup here and video setup. I know the videos, the Leela series, the audio kept getting off track, and I don't know why. It's just a fault with Camtasia or in my setup. For some reason, I can't solve it. So we're abandoning Camtasia today, and I hope this setup works as well, if not better, than the last few videos. So, we'll find out. We'll find out. So many awesome things happening. So anyway, let's go through the game a little bit. I am black. I'm playing against a 5-Dan player, European 5-Dan. His name's David from Germany. And I've played against him before, but not that often. I think we've only maybe played twice in the last few years. And our games are never boring. Both and he's kind of like a quieter, soft-spoken guy, but yeah, you'll just see, what happens. You can see as the game, oops, I don't really want to mouse over that yet, as Leela 0 is, figuring out all these moves, you can see how many variations and basically the amount of analysis it's doing on each move. This is the GPU boosted Lizzie version, or Leela, whatever you want to call it. And I did compare it to the CPU version, and oh my god, the CPU version is just painful in terms of the number of variations I can get through. So I'm hoping we can sort of go through this more or less live. You can have this Lizzie go through your entire game just instead of predetermined number of analysis variations for each move, which is very nice. You can just set up your computer, let it run for a couple hours, and have it come back and show you all the what it thinks the best moves are. All right, so anyway, I play just a pretty standard opening, and there we go. And actually, one thing, if I turn this off, are these going to go away? No, they don't go away. One thing I actually kind of find, a lot of the color dots are obnoxious and kind of distracting on the board. They're much more apparent than the Leela, version 11 GUI. So I'll just have to, get more used to it, I think. Anyway, pretty standard opening, 2 4-4s, a 3-4, and a 4-4. Again, normal move here is to start on mini or micro Chinese, which is, in fact, what I play. Lizzie, Leela Zero, what should we just call her? We have to decide on a name. Robot, henceforth you are known as Robot. Really likes this making the enclosure. And from the AlphaGo Zero games, if you guys have been watching or paying attention to those, you can tell that's very, very robot-like. But I play the human move, and already we can see that the favorite move is to just jump in and break up the top. And again, usually this would be considered bad, right? You're making a symmetrical position, right, as white, and you're giving black the first move to break into that symmetry. And so I don't really understand why the robot thinks this is best, but that's what the robot does. And actually, the funny thing is, the robot variation that it's working on right now is thinking, oh yeah, we're just basically going to leave the top, I'm just going to come in here, we're both more or less going to abandon the top and go do other things. Which is, I can't relate to that very much as a human, in fact, right? Like, if both players are fighting, look at all this tension on the top. It feels so natural to continue there. So, yeah, we're going to continue. All right, I play the mini, he backs off, sorry, and I play the mini Chinese. And the mini Chinese, at least in terms of this robot epic, is outdated. This is something that Dave and I talked a lot about after the game, is that you really can't play this anymore. It's seen as a bad variation for black. And there's a couple reasons why. The two main ones are this move, right? White has this and this is a move that came up in the AlphaGo games, like way back, AlphaGo Master games. Earlier versions of AlphaGo would play this move. And this is nicely spaced in between these two stones, it turns out. Like, black can't really punish this move. It's very strange to be able to just play in between a corner and a pincer stone and not really feel bad about it. And the second way you can punish it is exactly kind of how David did it in the game. He was feeling very AlphaGo inspired, and so he just came right in here. And I'm going to let these numbers rack up a little bit, because actually I really want to see what Leela Zero, what Robot says to do here. Because in the game I'm torn between doing this move. Oh man, I really don't like this whole mouse business. This is, there's a control settings here. I can turn off the V key, it looks like. So I hit V. Okay, good, I can move my mouse over. All right, cool. And also the other controls. Let's see what else we got here. Next move display is F. Cool, okay. So I just got to get better at... Nope, that didn't work. F did not work. Win rate graph. I was hoping to show hide move number. Nope. Whoa, no, I don't want to start a new game. Oh god. No, don't want to do that. It should be F to toggle these things, but... Do I have to have the pondering on or off? Nope. Okay, alright. I'm still learning. Anyway, I can now mouse over without the board exploding. Between this move and this attachment. And this attachment is relatively modern in terms of its innovation, but it's seen actually in professional play before robots sort of took over. In the game, I ended up playing sort of the more traditional one. Right now, Leela Zero is still concluding that this is the better one, but not by a lot. It's very close, and it even is suggesting to play really conservative, just playing with a third line move, which is perhaps even more interesting. And actually, that's crawled up to the highest win rate. It hasn't overtaken its confidence over this one, but there it goes. Yep. Now it has the most played variations. So Leela Zero can't really tell the difference between these three moves. And in the game, like I said, I was already having trouble deciding between this one and this one. You can see the robot doesn't, freaking know either. This one's kind of a surprise. This one would not be what I would expect. When black already has helper stones, I'd really intuitively want to be more aggressive. So like I said, I play here. And I'm and again, this is the David variation. Why he felt comfortable immediately leaping in is because he did this exact sequence. And instead of making a base, which would be the traditional sort of Japanese style, joseki, he plays this attachment. And I'll let this run for a little while longer, because right now Lizzie doesn't think that's the best move, though you can see it's actually, she's catching it up pretty quickly. Right now she prefers the shoulder hit, which also is interesting, and yeah, these two are kind of fighting it out. But either way, basically foregoing this very small, narrow base and just attaching directly. And in traditional Go theory, right, this black should feel ecstatic, right, if white is to attach here. Because we have this overextended position, and by touching the stone, black's going to get stronger here, and you're naturally going to be able to fix your weak points. Still hasn't come around to the attachment, but again, they're pretty close. Still likes the shoulder hit a little bit more. Let's turn variations on back and see what happens with the shoulder hit. Lizzie just changed her mind about what the variation looks like. She found a simpler variation. Man. According to the robot, basically white gets out and gets a little bit of central influence, but yeah, maybe get a little... It's very thin, though. Right, I'm just looking down the right-hand side of that board and all those cuts and points. Yeah, that... Oh, man. Like, as a human, right, you look at this variation and you go, well, what did white get? It's not really clear. Maybe a bunch of influence that's loosely connected. Robot says that's fine. Robot looks at this and goes, hey, that's great. Difficult. Like, just get a bunch of, a bunch of loosely connected stones in the upper right and then go do other things. Oops, anyway, he attaches. Let's turn off variation so I can point my keyboard again. And this is again, the point we talked about in the game a lot, just what is the correct response here? It's such a simple thing. And if you're playing Go, especially like if you're going to the Go Congress and you're playing against Chinese or mini Chinese openings, you'll need to know this, right? You will see this being played. Yeah. And so again, Robot thinks it's the Hani on top, which is what I played. I think after the game, though, I really wanted to kind of explore this Hane below. And we can have Lizzie just show us that, oh yeah, black makes a base, no problem, get some points, get some cash, but white gets a bunch of influence. And I know something about both me and David's style is both of us tend to prefer influence over cash. And so you're going to see in this game quite, we overvalue the central influence, I think, although... yeah, you'll see. You'll see. If the game was just about central influence, at least in the opening, you'll see that he wins it. But here, well, no surprise, no spoilers, right? I'll also draw your attention over here to this nice little graph. I like this graph better than the Leela graph, just because it's shinier and green. Those are all cool things. And again, even though it shows white as winning, that really hasn't changed much in the beginning. Maybe white's gained a slight advantage according to the robot, but you have to keep in mind, robot really likes Comey, right? So robot always thinks white's winning, at least for a little while, until black can really capitalize on that first move in some way. All right, so Hane on top. This is totally the expected move. This Hane below. You can see how hard Leela's already gone through 35k variations here. And so this is another choice point. Now, in the game, I play a move that's... I just felt inspired, let's say that. I play not a standard move. Although these moves are worth exploring. Again, if I was looking for influence, I think this move, just connect directly and force white to try to fix, is a pretty good response. You can see here's what Leela thinks will happen. Black will just get a huge moyo on the right-hand side. Also, in these variations, you can see how much Lizzie values those 3/3 corner invasions. If you look at that bottom left, just plays them all the time so early. Doesn't matter which side. Almost doesn't matter what situation. It's just... here's a move I want to play, just invade the corner immediately. And again, that's very inhuman. That's a very, very robot characteristic that humans, have experimented with and always sort of backed away from, right, in our Go history. Okay, so first choice is connect. I didn't do this. Second choice is to Atari here, and it actually looks, the variations end up being fairly similar in terms of what black... Oh, nope, Lizzie changed her mind as to what each player should get in each of these. In this variation, Lizzie thinks white will just make a living group and black will get to capture 3 stones. and then white will come away with Sente to invade the bottom right. Yeah, it's hard to read these robot variations because they go much deeper than. Yeah, I mean you can't really expect to do what the robot does, or your opponent to do what the robot does, for that matter. It's just doing what it thinks is the best for both players, and that's often much more theoretical than it is pragmatic when you're playing against humans. All right, so anyway, in the game, again, like I said, I felt inspired, and so here we go, triple Hane, bam, bam, bam. Or it's really, I guess, double Hane, but it's, you know, this one looks like it's unprotected as well. And this works. Like, this isn't a bad move. It was on Leela's, you know, top 3 move candidates here as responses, though it is notably lagging behind the others. And this is after the game. David and I talked a lot about this, and he concluded that he shouldn't have cut here. And I was like, oh no, but you got a good result anyway. But anyway, Leela agrees with him, so I'll give him a point here. He should just go back and defend. Don't worry, I'll get my point back later, coming up very soon. If we're going to let Lizzie and the robot settle our review differences in what we thought was good and what we thought was bad. So white takes this cut here, and whoops, let's turn off the variations, which, you know, Leela does say basically makes it a 50-50 game, which is pretty exciting. So in this case, oops, and even here actually after this exchange, the robot is starting to think that black has has swung the game into black's favor, because when both players get Panukis here, white's already committed 3 stones and basically solidified the corner. White can't live here locally, and so white's under a much more severe attack than my stone. The next move for white, which I kind of agree with, at least what I thought would happen in our game, and it didn't happen, was to just come out and try to surround this on a large scale. If white's able to come out and then kick, this turns into 30 to 40 points real fast. Again, it's just a Panuki. Now, that being said, black gets the same 30 to 40 points when black covers here. It's just that it takes really white 2 moves to solidify this, and it takes black 1. But it's basically, it keeps the game even, and white has Sente, so, you know, white can do that. David, like I said, our games are crazy. There's no way that was happening, right? This is not an option. So white comes out. And at this point, you know, I don't know. Our games are just always just stupid. Like, they're just stupid crazy. You know, I certainly thought about this move, the one that Leela really likes, and says black would get an immediate advantage. And it makes a lot of sense. Just cover the white group, build thickness, and then go back to attacking these stupid stones. In the game, my idea was like, let's run all the groups all together. And so I played here. And for the record, this move isn't that far behind. It, again, it hasn't done a lot of analysis, but it's still a 58, to 62% winning move according to the robot. So it's not like this is a terrible move. Both these moves spoil white's shape and make white have to play a bunch of dirty little stupid bad shape moves in order to secure this group. So both of these are where your eye should be looking. Lizzie's second choice, of course, is just to attack directly and leave this for later. But in the game, I play this one. And this is the much more aggressive one. This is probably... yeah, you just have to be prepared to you're just in a crazy game at this point, once black plays here. If you just play here, this is sane, this is nice, this is just simple. We're just going to let white solidify over here and then come back and attack, very directed. This is, who knows what's going to happen. All right, because all of a sudden black has 2 weak groups and white has 2 weak groups. All right, very interesting. Lizzie keeps thinking this point is the key point. And during our review, neither of us really identified this as a key point. Like both of us thought what got played was more or less what needed to happen. This is Hane, and then again we thought this attachment was right. But again, it's interesting. Let's turn on the variations. Lizzie thinks this peep is best. And yeah, I can see that. If black connects, white can still basically get out. But it won't show me the variation when that happens. So yeah, it's not a move on our radar. That being said, though, we still just this exchange in general, and just be willing to fight. Black has me, right? Me is black, has swung the game very much in our favor. Again, we have a heavy white group in between two black positions. What can go wrong? So white plays here, and again, the move. This I can still. This exchange wasn't inherently outside of the plan of let's just build thickness on the outside. In fact, black still has this very nice move. And it's still deciding. Robot's still thinking about how this is all going to work. Just get some thickness here, force white to defend, and still thinking. All right, still updating. Oh, every 3 seconds, it's like the variation changes, which is what a robot should be doing, I guess. It's working hard. But anyway, conceptually, just get more thickness, and then we can go about our business and deal some real damage to this white heavy group. Not on my radar, though. Like, just totally not on my radar. Again, I was still kind of committed to these two stones and continuing some sort of attack here, which I fail horrifically, and you're about to see. Okay. What's really interesting is this attachment. Robot thinks, or at least the first, few thousand variations of analysis, this is the most important move. Just come out, right? We have weak groups all over. This is the weak, maybe not the weakest, but it's the one that's in the center. Just come out. Oh, one move, one move that we talked about for black that's not, Lizzie doesn't really like, it's definitely not in the top 3, was this wedge. And after the game, I think we both agreed this was better than what happened to me. Black wedges here, white Ataris, black Ataris. Oh no, sorry, white Ataris this way, and then Ataris this way, and there's a co-lock here kind of thing. So black still gets the outside. You can kind of read this out. How easy is it to actually play moves on the board without destroying things? Should we try it? I'm kind of scared. Here, 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 there we go. Oh, and actually, Lizzie doesn't even want to do the co-lock. Kind of thing. Yes, and this is all. This is the variation we played after the game, just the two of us. And then come back over here. Although Lizzie says keep playing this way. Great. So here, let's go back up to here. And can I step there? There we go. We're fixed. Anyway, I was invading the corner. There wasn't any way he was going to just let me do that naturally. Again, Lizzie says, no, don't play over here. This is still bigger. Amazing. And actually, Lizzie's still... Hold on, see if this move hangs on. Even after this exchange. Robot is still just, hey, play. Don't worry about the corner. This is not a big deal. Just come out. Because if this white group is strong, then these two groups basically will cancel each other out, right? Their weaknesses will, neither group will be able to take advantage of the other's weaknesses. So this is the group that really needs to be strong here. Yeah, so even more defiantly concluded that this is the best move. Plays here, I connect. In the game, like this is the normal move, and I don't know why David doesn't play it. He plays this one, which in the end he gets a great result because I screw up, but you can see it's slightly, it's not that much worse. Barely worse. Very similar. Here, Atari, have to fix. And yeah, and actually and now at this point this black group really should live. But I play this move, which is bad. Oh, we should also just go back here, like in all these exchanges, right, by neither player taking advantage of this first. That sort of swings the game back to white. Because after all this exchange, white's actually much stronger here. Actually, white doesn't even really need a move here now. So white is, by making this row of stones strong, white has essentially connected up. And in doing so, made this group much weaker and made this group much stronger. And then after black plays this move, this is just a mistake. This is this is a nothing burger move. I thought it was a shape point, and you can kind of just intuitively feel like there's an important shape to be made here. But it turns out there's not, because I'm basically asking white to fix the shape, and I'm still sort of owing white a move in the corner. And so it's really like white just gets to play this for free. So we take this, and robot agrees to live in the corner. And the next move is interesting because this is not where my opponent played. And in fact, he plays sort of the more crazy way. Is let's not just make yourself bad shape. Of course, if white plays here, black's is going to jump, black's not going to connect. At least I don't think he should connect. What does? Oh no, Lizzie says connect. Neat. Alright. Well, we both talked about after the game, if he plays here, I'm just going to jump and ignore this for now. And both of us felt like that was a good exchange for black. Alright. So anyway, he plays crazy move, and yep, I play right here, which is the key point to hem in the white group. It also threatens to actually save this black stone and put this white stone behind all this black. So this is just a nice point. And you can see just cutting on the wrong side injured this group so severely, it's just swung the game back to black. So already, and at least according to the robot, and that's not fact, right? That's just according to this particular robot. We've had 3 lead changes in the game, right? If we accept that white starts the game as winning, it's gone from white to black to white to black. But wait, there's going to be more. Don't worry. So white takes, and there, black can be cut here, right? Black can just get pushed, or white can just push through and cut. So black needs to find a move. The move that I play and the move that Lizzie thinks is the best. And we looked at this move. We looked at other options after the game, and we couldn't really find something better. And this is the same thing that I found during the game. This is not really a connection you want to make, because there's actually weak points at both of these little armpits. If white can push into one, that threatens to cut and push through simultaneously. So black's not overjoyed to play this. Like, it's a really nice move to hem in the white group. This having a stone here really lets black just have a nice time, and that's why it's rated so highly by Lizzie, because it actually just makes a lot of things work. But it still is a shape that can have problems later on if it's not handled well. Okay, so at this point we're at a 60-40 game. For me, I am firmly back in the driver's seat, having taken white's corner points, having more or less killed off this, and then white needs to turn this thickness into something. So we're pretty happy right here. Robot says white should basically make some mischief. This move actually threatens a ko at this cut. If white can play this in some sort of sente, like if black has to respond down here, white can push and immediately ko. And that's a really nuisance for me that I always kind of had in the back of my mind as well. And that's another problem with this move, this connection. My opponent doesn't play it. He plays another move that Leela actually thinks is quite good. All these moves are pretty similar, but he finds this move. And this is a pretty common Tetsuji. It's sort of this elephant eye cut kind of jump. But in this case, it doesn't really work. And in honesty, I really just didn't spend enough time reading it. What reads I came up with, I was like, I think it works for me, but oh my god, I have to make so many bad shapes, and there's so many ways for white to take advantage of it because there's still this clamp here. And black, there's a lot of variations where black has to end up making an empty triangle. If white pushes here and black blocks, and then white comes Hane's here, and then you sort of have to extend this way, and then white comes here. There's a lot of really ugly shapes, or maybe a clamp here first. This is a pretty scary move. And, it's just one of those times in the game where you sort of lose your cool and you're like, okay, I don't know how to deal with this. Let's just keep everything safe. There just can't be anything wrong with keeping everything safe. And so the move I play is here. And so, yeah, watch. Yeah, the graph is already showing, is betraying my move. Because I play here, and boom. As soon as white plays here, white saves the group. The group is out. And a 30 percentage point swing back to white's favor. So there you go. So there's your fourth lead change. Yeah, I need to... Let's drink some... I'm kind of running out. I should have made more before I started this. We're so sad. Okay. So at this point, with white getting out, now it's still gonna be like white's not alive. Like this is still a resource for black to use. So I'm still thinking this is okay. I thought it was more like a 50-50 game. I didn't think all of a sudden it went from 60-40 me to 60-40 my opponent. But I make a series of mistakes here that really kind of keep me in the gutter for a while. The first of which I make is here. As I take the star point. And normally a star point is fine in the opening. We're not in the opening. During the game, both David and I agreed this was the wrong point. If I was going to play somewhere over here, it has to be here. Although I think, yeah, what's the percentage of this move? You're not going to tell me? You're not even going to tell me, Leela? Although Leela says this is even worse. So maybe we were both wrong about this. You'll see why we both agree that this was a better point as this plays out. You know, again, white's still sort of behind here, so white needs to work hard to get this group out. Black just jumps, which is what I do. White has the option, essentially, and it's not quite the top move. It's definitely not the top move. But when white gets this box shape, this is actually pretty good shape, just because it connects the stones and gives white some potential for eyes. Leela says right now is a good time to actually play this cutting sequence. And let's look at that variation. Oh, it's pretty long. Oh, and it's still changing its mind. Basically, if white cuts right now, black will be able to live in the corner, or live in the side. Sorry, you can see that top side group. That's not really changing from variation to variation. And white will be able to get out with some thickness. Black will be able to take a bunch of points on the right-hand side. But man, look at that white wall. And it's still actually adding some new moves to the variation. Look at just that white central influence. It's just massive. And so even though white has no cash, you know, and I mean pretty much no cash, black doesn't really have enough points to combat the potential of all that central thickness. All right, you've done enough here. So yeah, so this move would be pretty killer right now. But white's going to struggle a little bit more first. And again, Leela says Hane right now. I didn't like this Hane during game because it's really not a good follow-up. It's just Hane and then white keeps moving out. I played this move to try to make something happen more in this shape, but it really doesn't. White pushes, I just jump again. Here, so Leela thinks white should just keep jumping. Gradually, these two black stones will need to add a move. But white makes this kind of fancy attack on them, when I think these exchanges were actually all meh. Like, they weren't great for white, they weren't super efficient. So I have these two black stones here. The move and again, I sort of thought these two stones were fine, and actually they are during the game, because I have this really cool diagonal move here that I play, and that sort of gets them out or safe, lets them connect up to either side or make eyes. Leela doesn't think super highly of my move. Actually, Leela, for many of these moves, or Lizzie, really wants to take this peep, and I think that is a good idea. It's a much better idea than I realize, because when white does cut, it makes white, if white doesn't respond over here, of course, makes white's group actually attackable again, which, you know, is potentially really good. And it completely nullifies, again, that's if black gets this cut, this white thickness just immediately. And it's a really useful stone later on anyway. So Yeah, I really like this peep. I do get this peep later, but Lizzie is cheering me on this early to do it now, which I find pretty remarkable, right? To value this peep in the middle of this giant running fight. You know, the robot comes up with and says, "Oh yeah, this is fine. You can play this now. You can just let white do whatever you want over here because this is big enough." So that's pretty remarkable to me. Anyway, I like my move. This is the move I want to play. You know, and the things are, there are some moves that are a percentage point better. So this isn't a game-losing move. It's still a nice move. It looks cool. It feels fun to play. And not sure why this move still looks good to me. Lizzie's not working very hard on it. It's very similar to before. Yeah, Lizzie's this thing at this point. Just have white continue running out, making shape, keeping the pressure on these 3 black stones, which is kind of what I thought would happen, but doesn't. And so, yeah, because white is like, hey, let's split this and this from this side with a move like this. But it turns out this move is awful. Like, even though it looks like white has a bunch of really nice shape in here, this move doesn't threaten this black group enough. And so I play the robot move, and all of a sudden white is behind again on this fighting shape, because now this defect has been exposed. Yeah, so I mean, look, white is getting strong, and then can't parlay it into anything. It just, you know, basically chooses the wrong direction, and it swings the game back to black. Amazing. White plays here, and I of course take this Atari, right, which threatens to cut off the 3 stones again. White can connect here, but after black takes this Ko, what's interesting here is robot says just push through this way, which I'm not really sure how that works. Yeah, what happens if black just plays here though? Oh, it's a co-threat? I see. Okay. But still, yeah, that's a kind of a bad co-threat. I don't fully understand using this move as a co-threat. The robot thinks it's not a big enough co-threat, and black will just finish it. Finish the Ko. But I don't think there's a way. I'm not playing that move in response to that one. Either way, they're certainly the biggest co-threats out there for white to just connect through this way. Yeah, interesting. Okay. So anyway, white connects here, which we're black. Black plays finishes this Ko. So now these 3 stones are just connected and safe to the black group. Black can also make, even if black gets to play over here again, can make quite a bit of territory. 20 to 30 points is on this black side, in addition to the 10-ish points up here. So 30 to 40 points almost in hand. And again, white's cash is basically 0. White has to find 30 to 40 points on this side. Anyway, after black connects, white does indeed find this move, which is the robot move. It is reassuring just how many moves both David, especially David, but myself too included, play that the robot agrees with. That gives me some positive feeling about my Go skill, on days that I don't feel particularly strong. Anyway, plays this, I play the robot move, David plays the robot move. Here I don't play the robot move, and man, the robot thinks there's a huge difference. For me, I'm kind of thinking these 2 moves are really similar, or about the same. The problem with this move is that there's a whole bunch more co-threats, and I still only get 1 eye. But yeah, it is the better move. Oh, and also I think white can disconnect me in Sente, which was another issue. But maybe I guess white can disconnect me in Sente with this one too. So I think that was my own faulty reasoning. I just play here to live with this group. Yeah, robot says play here immediately. David makes this exchange, which I don't think is a terrible exchange. It's just an exchange. But then he gets to come out here. All right, so at this point, after all these exchanges, black is safe down here. Black has a little bit in the center, but is still way inside this white thickness. Black got some profit. After white comes here, black has Sente. And I think that's the biggest, most important thing. If everything is safe and black has Sente, black has time to prevent this from growing into the number of points white needs to win. And robot, in true robot style, still reminding me of the peep. But after the peep, it really thinks the next best move is this corner point. Just take 3-3 immediately. And oh man, it still just feels so ugly to me because, you know, white will play the Sente variation, come back and make a nice move over here. But, you know, maybe that's fine. You know, I have these 3 stones to just reduce from, make some shape. Let's have it show us a variation here. Yeah, that's basically what happens, except white never extends, plays around the start point in the robot variation. Where's 2? Oh, okay, here we go. 2, yep, just play out this Joseki thing in the bottom left. And yeah, black gets to just reduce this way. And according to Leela, it's almost a 2-to-1 advantage. But we don't do that. Of course we don't do that. I play here, which I think is a great point. And was there any, what was the other, if Leela was going to play over here, let's see, 60, 61, 64. Yeah, Leela likes this point, I think, the best. Not that it's done a lot of analysis. Yeah, if we're just going to invade. This point is nice. If white pincers, you welcome that. You just go over here and make a base. If white takes the corner, then you go over here and make a base. Very flexible. Felt like my point was also flexible. And I also felt like my point kind of helped these stones, or worked with these stones more just because it was high, but maybe that's too wishful thinking. White, according to the robot, is supposed to take the base, and black will just run to the helper stones. Not what happens. David wants to be a little more aggressive, and so plays 4th line pincer on this group. From here, still peep. I should have peep. Like if there's ever a really good time that it feels good to be a human in peep, it's probably right now. Peep and then decide what to do. I still don't do it. I still hold it off on it. Interestingly, this is a favorite robot move. Just leave that as just almost a shoulder hit on a non-existent shoulder. Just come over here and make a base and build something here. That's pretty interesting. I just try to settle immediately. I just make all these exchanges, which the robot doesn't really like, but it does. It just, you know, wiggles the graph around here. Oh yeah, the robot thinks this was a big mistake. All right, I was looking at this before. Yeah, so, oh yeah, here we go, the variation here. If white descends to take away the base this way, that's very simple. All right, thank you, Lizzie, for finding a simpler variation. I mean, I'm just looking at points, right? So white gets a big corner in the bottom left. White gets something in the middle upper left center. But yeah, there's really no other good points for white to take. Like, this is all of white's territory. Okay. Anyway, white plays here, super aggressive. And a move that I'm really enamored with is this one that I didn't think about during the actual game. But I should have. Yeah, it's significantly better than the move I played. This clamp here. Yeah, I don't know why this just didn't occur to me. Yeah, because you just get more. You just get more. And in the game, I just crawl and crawl again, and then get this peep. And so again, we're still having a 60-40 kind of game. But this group, this black group, has one eye at most after this move. So we still need to get it out or find an eye. Unfortunately, this This requires some drinking of tea. Let's not... let's prepare ourselves. Let's relax ourselves, because I do something crazy and completely inappropriate. And it's almost as bad as recording a Go video without pants on. And that is play this move. And you can just see the Leela's disappointment in black. Is this is a Tesuji shape. You know, if you the stupid markers here, let's turn variations off. This is a Tesuji shape when you want to basically like drive the stone somewhere so you can get your stones out. And to me, it just felt like if I was just going to lean on this one stone, I don't know. I was just very uncomfortable just making this like very loose connection between here and here. I wanted to like be forceful, I guess, in my making of a connection. However, it just throws everything into chaos. It is just, oh, and not good chaos for black. Like black has the points. Black doesn't need chaos. Black just needs to keep everything safe and not let white get big. Which the Leela move totally does, right? Keeps everybody safe and doesn't let white get big. This move, yeah, is asking for trouble. So we're going to drive white. We Hane on top. White comes over here. Robot just wants to clamp this stone right now, which I think would have been good. I don't think it matters a whole lot, but it's good. I keep driving, and Leela says, "Oh yeah, by the way, white can cut here," which my opponent totally does, and that whoo, just got even worse. Right, so now we're down to a 70-30 game. Black does get forcing moves over here, so got to take advantage of these. And then black comes over here. And now we're down to an 80-20 game after these exchanges. Just fallen off the face of the game. Oh man. But I have a plan. I think. After here, let's see, white. What does white do? Oh yeah, white takes this cut. So just try to clean this up, because there's a lot of bad Aji here. If these three black stones ever get connected or get strong, then black also has a Sente move here. So, or not even a Sente, just a move to win here. So this is a very big nuisance for white to have this combination of black stones here. So white's idea is, let's just cut right now and make sure that when black connects, it's not Sente to kill these four stones and save these two, which I think is pretty reasonable. But Lizzie says, oh, maybe that opens the door a little bit for some possibilities. And so my move, Leela really doesn't like, for reasons that you'll see. You know, in my mind, right, I'm like, oh, hey, maybe I can get these out while hemming in the corner, and then I still have Aji and reduction moves over here. Totally cool, right? Well, no, because white has this combination and coming on top here. So now all of a sudden, now I have this weak group with these three basically dead groups. A weak stone that's Aji and another stone that just got attached to. But, you know, we can be creative, right? We're creative people. I play this Hane. White, of course, just keeps everything split. Now in the game, yeah, David and I looked at this for a while afterward, and we still couldn't debate which one was better because reasons. There's just a lot of variations. And this is the first one I looked at, right, to try to make everything work. And obviously it looks like the better point than playing this one that leaves holes everywhere. Let's turn on the variation. Yeah, in this variation, white gets to kill all this. But black kind of comes around and it gets out, which is all I really needed. Can't quite decide, actually. Oh, still changing. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Should have probably played here. But, you know, I'm creative. I'm being very creative, so we play this one. We just let white puncture all these holes. And David, after the game, he was just like, yeah, you were just playing like you weren't scared of anything. It was really hard at this point. And I agree, like, this is, like, look at all these holes. You have a cut here, you have a peep here, or poke through here, you have a poke through here. All these are basically dead. He plays here, and then I play, oh, such a great move. I play here a 7.5% chance to win the game kind of move. Like, oh man. Like, that is something. And of course he takes the more valuable cut, and all of my stones are garbage. Like, all of them. They're all garbage. Anyway, so at this point, it's not good for black. I managed to get this group out and connect this stone and actually build like a 30-point group here, but it just doesn't compare to the size of this. And so in the end, you know, I end up resigning the game, maybe down by about almost 10 on the board, so not very close in the end. And man, it's just couple of moves here, right? This is a great game for black. You know, going into here, but just being way too creative instead of just playing a simple, safe move to keep the game in my favor. So, anyway, it was nice to play a game with David again. It was nice to play a game with 4 lead changes. Hopefully, we'll play again. It was definitely good practice for the Go Congress, where, you know, I have to keep my creative side in check sometimes. Especially when I have a game where I have the advantage. Of course, this isn't the part where I was really disappointed in my game. At this point, I'm just sort of having fun. I think the most disappointing move for my game was this one. If you guys remember all the way back, it must be right here. Yes. At this point in the game, not rising to the occasion, not cutting the white group off, not not making the winning position concrete, and instead of just backing off and giving white a chance. This is part of the game where, you know, actually, I think if we were playing with a clock, I would feel a lot more comfortable. Because, you know, when you're playing games at a Go club or a Go center, you know, I always feel like there's a pressure on you not to take too much time to move. You're just playing a casual game. If I have a clock, I'm like, okay, I have my time. I'm entitled to this time. I can really read all this out. And in a game like this, you know, after I still read this for a while and still couldn't quite work out everything. Because again, after this clamp, it gets pretty complicated. Yeah, I was like, I just have to play a move, and I played here. And so that was the move I really disappointed myself with. So anyway, really entertaining game. I think this will be my last video for July. Like I said earlier, there are all those Leela 5Q games where I was using Leela to just blast through some Q-ness. I will upload, or sorry, I should say my last official Nick Sibicky Go lecture for July. I will upload just some content, just like some little, you know, couple very short videos from the Go Congress, just so you guys at home can see what it's like and feel like you're there. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I really hope that you know, you guys are enjoying the series. I'll look to do more with Lizzie and Leela Zero when I get back. Although I'm doing a lot of traveling. I'm visiting a whole bunch of states and flying up and down and across the country. So, you know, we'll resume in August with some real, you know, more Nick Sibicky Go lectures, and maybe even contain some of the new things I've learned at the Go Congress. So look forward to that. Hope you guys are having a great summer, and we'll see you in August.